I still remember how I felt. The jolt that ran down my spine, the warm hand that once gently stroked my hair, the smile that once soothed my heart, now crushed. Listen, we have to start right there. A broken dream, an absolute injustice, and a chilling, undeniable promise of revenge. To understand why this dark, haunting opening monologue actually matters and whose life is about to be systematically dismantled, we need to go back. Because right beneath the surface of this sunny, luxury cruise ship, right behind the facade of this gorgeous tropical island getaway, a massive, highly lethal trap has just been sprung. And our guy Ayanokoji, the hyper-calculating protagonist who literally just wants to live a quiet, ordinary, completely invisible high school life, he is officially cooked if he doesn't see what is forming around him. His carefully curated standing at the school, his desperate attempt to just be an average, under-the-radar student, is under direct assault. What we are witnessing right now is not just another school test. It is a full-blown psychological thriller hiding in plain sight. Every single rule we are about to learn is an invisible weapon aimed squarely at his back. So grab a snack, settle in, and let's dive into this and look at the board being set.
So, the exact question we all have to ask right now, the one that's probably screaming in your head as you watch these students happily unload onto the white sand beach is, wait, is Ayanokoji walking straight into a trap? Yes. Yes, he absolutely is. The moment they step off that cruise ship into this beautifully terrifying environment, the entire genre of the show shifts violently. We go from a high school point-scoring battle in comfortable air-conditioned classrooms to a literal, unmonitored hunting ground, and Ayanokoji feels it immediately. You can see it. He's standing there analyzing the landscape and realizing that every single variable is completely out of his control. This isn't just a test of academic endurance anymore, it's a targeted assassination of his peaceful life. The entire environment is hostile, it is deeply unpredictable, and it is perfectly designed to break the students down mentally and physically. To truly understand the sheer scale of the danger Ayanokoji is facing, we need to completely break down the mechanics of this absolute nightmare of an exam.
Because the basic framework of this island exam is just brutal. Especially for someone like Ayanokoji. Here is how it works. Step 1, move to designated map squares. The entire island is sliced up into 100 individual squares. You get 10 points for arriving first, 5 for second, and 3 for third. Step 2, compete in unpredictable, randomized challenges scattered across the map for absolute essentials. We are talking about fighting for your actual food and water. Step 3, avoid missing 3 designated areas in a row where you face massive, potentially game-ending penalties. Bro, this is exhausting just to think about. Ayanokoji is a mental chess player. He thrives on staying in the shadows, manipulating pawns from the back of a quiet classroom. But this exam? This forces a grueling physical war of attrition. You are constantly on the move, burning thousands of calories, fighting severe dehydration, and racing against a ticking clock in a dense jungle. And here's the thing, the school watches your every physiological shift. If your health fails, your watch triggers a 5-second alarm. If it gets worse, a 5-minute emergency alert literally summons medical staff to your location. It forces movement, it forces encounters. You cannot just hide out in a cave and wait this out. The rules actively force everyone to cross paths, to clash, and to exhaust themselves until their bodies simply give out.
And then we get the stakes reminder that changes absolutely everything. The number 5. The bottom 5 placements face instant expulsion. On the spot. No appeals, no complex saving throws, no secret point buybacks you can pull at the last second, just immediate removal from the school entirely. Now, what's really fascinating about this specific rule is the immense psychological weight of the number 5. Think about it. It's a low enough number that an arrogant student might trick themselves into thinking they can easily avoid it. But it is a high enough number that sheer, unadulterated panic sets in the moment a single thing goes wrong out there in the jungle. This isn't about thriving or proving how smart you are anymore. It's about desperate, primal survival. When you combine physical exhaustion, starvation, dehydration, and the looming, suffocating threat of instant expulsion, you completely strip away the civilized, polite facade of these high school kids. You push them into a dark, desperate corner where they will do absolutely anything to survive. It is the perfect recipe for chaos, and it leaves the door wide open for foul play.
Which leads us to absolute cinema. Acting Chairman Tsukishiro stands up in front of the entire student body, looks them dead in the eye, and casually drops this deeply sinister quote. "It's only natural our surveillance will have some holes. Bro, wait, did he really just say that out loud to a bunch of high schoolers? He is standing up there pretending to be a caring, pragmatic administrator, noting that hunger and thirst will naturally lead to frustration and minor fights among teenagers. But then he casually adds that he plans to be relatively permissive of fights. This is a masterclass in foreshadowing. He's not just warning the students about the harsh reality of the island, he is subtly giving a green light for off-camera violence. But more importantly, he's broadcasting a covert message directly to the White Room enforcer, that hidden assassin sent from the hyper-abusive elite training facility of Ayanokoji's traumatic childhood is listening right now. Tsukishiro is explicitly stating, if you want to do something dirty, do it where we aren't looking, and I promise you, I will turn a blind eye. It's low-key terrifying. He is weaponizing the very geography of the island against Ayanokoji.
And this perfectly builds into the core conflict of the episode, and really the entire season moving forward. Because we are actually looking at two completely different exams happening simultaneously. On the surface, you have the public threat, failing the exam, losing points, falling into the bottom 5, and getting expelled through the standard academic rules. But underneath that, lurking in the jungle's shadows, is the hidden threat. Off-camera physical injury in those unmonitored zones Tsukishiro just aggressively advertised. Ayanokoji realizes almost instantly that Tsukishiro won't try to expel him fairly. I mean, why would he even bother? Ayanokoji is way too smart to fall into the bottom 5 by accident. The public rules simply won't work on him. And while Tsukishiro could theoretically try to tamper with the digital point displays on their devices, Ayanokoji correctly notes that kind of blatant cheating leaves a digital trail. It could be reported to the broader school board. So, the hidden threat, the physical violence in the dark, is the actual lethal battlefield.
The absolute crucial point here is summarized perfectly by Ayanokoji's own chilling internal realization. If I'm somewhere unmonitored, I'm at risk. Cold. Just absolute cold calculating logic. He is isolating the exact threat vector in real time. What he projects to the outside world is just a bored student walking through a forest, but what he actually feels inside is the hypervigilance of a hunted animal. He knows the White Room student isn't going to challenge him to a fair academic duel on the beach. A shadow war is entirely different. It means constantly checking his sightlines, calculating camera angles, and knowing that at any given moment he might have to fight for his actual life where nobody can hear him scream. They're going to wait until he is in a blind spot, completely off the GPS grid, away from the cameras, and they are going to try to physically break his body. He realizes that this exam allows the enemy to bypass the school's rules entirely, because if he gets severely injured and his watch triggers an emergency alert that forces him back to the starting area, he gets disqualified, and medical disqualification equals expulsion. He immediately stops playing the points game and shifts his entire mental capacity into surviving the shadow war.
When you map out these rules, the full, terrifying picture comes into sharp focus. Just look at the setup against him. The required watches act as literal GPS trackers, monitoring his exact health and location for the administration to see at all times. The 12 predetermined movement tables completely fragment the groups, ensuring that alliances are structurally broken and students are scattered seemingly at random across the 100 squares. Fights are explicitly permissive, meaning the school won't intervene to stop a brawl immediately. And finally, the unmonitored blind spots. Every single mechanic of this island exam is a carefully crafted weapon designed to isolate, track, and trap Ayanokoji. The school is practically handing the White Room enforcer a glowing beacon to find him, a fragmented map to ensure he is totally alone when they do, and the administrative permission to beat him down in the shadows. It is an inescapable net, and it is closing in on him from all sides.
So how does our boy navigate this nightmare? Let's track his early timeline on the island because every move is incredibly deliberate. First, he starts by purchasing supplies completely alone. He just lets the chaotic, panicked crowds rush ahead to the starting zones. He's observing the panic, not reacting to it. Then, in the middle of the day, he has this incredibly tense, layered encounter with Hoshimiya, the cheerful but deeply cunning teacher of Class B. Class B is desperate to climb the ranks, and they recently made a massive move by poaching Ketsuragi, a brilliant strategist from Class A. So Hoshimiya is feeling aggressive. She's low-key trying to scout Ayanokoji, dropping heavy hints about his suspicious perfect math score and how he's secretly pushing his class forward. She actually offers Ayanokoji the same deal to transfer classes. And Ayanokoji, he just casually deflects it, noting it would cost 20 million private points. To put that in perspective, 20 million points is an astronomical, effectively impossible sum for a single student to gather naturally. It's essentially an impossible ransom. He plays the fool beautifully, projecting total indifference while he internally maps out her real intentions. Finally, he makes a cold, calculated move, reaching the center of the map. He doesn't do this to get points. He does this to secretly monitor the tables and see exactly who is on his specific movement rotation.
But then, the tension completely shifts and the paranoia spikes off the charts.
Because right in the middle of this calculated observation, she appears, Nanase. Ask yourself the exact question you should be screaming at your screen right now. Why is she here? She tells Ayanokoji that her formidable teammates Hosen and Amasawa decided to split up to cover more ground, leaving her completely alone in the jungle. Okay, but why on earth would a first year purposefully isolate herself in this brutal, high-stakes environment? In an exam where numbers literally mean safety, where there are unpredictable physical challenges and the bottom 5 get instantly expelled, walking alone as a freshman is essentially academic suicide. Unless, of course, you aren't playing the same game as everyone else. Her appearance here isn't random. It is a targeted interception. And Ayanokoji feels it immediately. The air in this scene is so thick with suspicion, it is genuinely suffocating.
And then she drops the line that serves as the single moment that changes the trajectory of the entire episode. I'd love to travel alongside you for a while. No way. Absolutely no way. Frame this in your mind, bro. Feel the suffocating trap he is now in. In a game where everyone is a potential enemy, where a hidden White Room assassin is actively tracking his GPS, this girl casually walks up and asks to walk side by side with him right into the unmonitored wilderness. The emotional and strategic cost of this request is massive. If Ayanokoji says no, he looks overly defensive, draws way more suspicion to himself, and loses the chance to keep a close eye on a major potential threat. If he says yes, he is willfully letting a massive, unpredictable variable step right into his physical blind spot. It is an incredibly suspicious request brilliantly disguised as innocent, helpless vulnerability. He agrees, but he knows the game has irreversibly changed. But here's the thing, the hidden detail that most viewers completely missed, and it is what makes this encounter absolutely terrifying. She didn't just stumble upon him. She's matching his pace. Look at the dialogue carefully. Nanase openly admits that every single time she goes to her designated area, Ayanokoji has already arrived there before her. 3 times in one day. Now let's just do the math on that for a second. The map has 100 squares. There are 12 different movement tables spreading hundreds of students out across a dense jungle. The sheer statistical probability of a solo first year naturally having the exact same pace, taking the exact same optimal jungle routes, and arriving at the exact same squares as Ayanokoji 3 times in a single day is effectively 0. It's mathematically impossible. She didn't get lucky. She successfully anticipated him. She hunted him down. And most terrifyingly, she is matching the physical and mental pace of the masterpiece of the White Room. Ayanokoji is a biological super soldier who survived a curriculum that broke literally everyone else. For a random freshman to keep up with his routing, it's chilling.
Which brings us to defining exactly what Nanase is right now in the context of this exam. She is the ultimate anomaly. And by that I mean, she's a variable that just completely shatters every expected pattern, immediately increasing the danger and unpredictability of everything around her. What does she actually want? Is she the White Room student executing Tsukishiro's unmonitored attack plan right in plain sight? Or is she just a desperate anomaly, a pawn being ruthlessly manipulated by Hosen and Amasawa to drag Ayanokoji down and exhaust his stamina? What she wants Ayanokoji to think is that she is a helpless underclassman needing a senior's guidance. What she actually feels is completely masked behind those perfectly polite smiles. And what this costs Ayanokoji is his ultimate safety. The psychological warfare here is brilliant. By simply walking next to him, she restricts his movements, denies him the ability to rest, and constantly keeps him on absolute edge.
Which leaves us with the most dangerous, unresolved threat of the season so far. Is Ayanokoji's greatest threat walking right beside him? He is no longer alone, and in this specific exam, being accompanied might be vastly deadlier than being isolated. The emotional weight of this ending is incredibly heavy. Ayanokoji walked onto this island knowing he was the prey in a massive, unmonitored hunting ground. But he didn't expect the hunter to politely ask to hold his hand while they walked together into the shadows. He is now venturing deeply into those very blind spots Tsukishiro warned about, with an anomaly effortlessly matching his every single step. The trap is officially closing and the shadow war has begun. Drop your theories below. Is Nanase the White Room enforcer, or is this all a massive misdirection? Subscribe to Zero Anime and I'll see you in the next explainer.